Hey YouTubers, so let's talk about episode 7 of American Horror Story Cult. So honestly guys, I have to say this probably wasn't necessarily the best one in the entire season thus far. In fact, I feel like this season's been really kind of strong other than a couple of episodes, and honestly this one seems I don't know, it just kind of seems a little bit too late in the game to start changing character dynamics, relationships, and everything else like that. They spent so much time building up the relationship between Beverly and Kai, or Ivy and Kai, or Winter and Kai. I mean, almost every single woman that Kai was involved with, outside of Midwestern Assassin, the last one with Meadow kind of committing suicide after committing the assassination attempt. Honestly, I just kind of feel like them diverting their path is not necessarily the right move right now, considering the fact that we have very few episodes until the end of this particular series. But I understand why they're doing it. In fact, that was the whole point of this particular episode, is that when men find power, they kind of push aside the women who were, I guess, helping them make that power or find that power in general, and they feel like they did it all themselves. And honestly, I can really kind of get behind that. I understand where they're going with it, but just kind of break where this whole episode went down. Essentially, we have an incredibly long flashback episode, and that's basically all this was, where Beverly is feeling a little bit jaded after everything that's happened, and how she was promised a seat at the table, an equal partnership with Kai as he was climbing the ranks and becoming more of a political figure throughout not only their town but also the United States in general. Obviously, he has a lot more intense ambitions, but she was kind of feeling jaded after being kind of pushed out. So obviously this mysterious woman shows up, as we saw in the episode preview, but she comes and she starts talking about how she needs to reclaim power, and women have power over men and everything else like that. Of course, Beverly then goes to get Kai at of course, Beverly then goes to go get Winter and Ivy, and they sit in Ivy's restaurant as they get a long whole episode worth of flashbacks where they kind of figure out that, or at least we figure out that the Zodiac Killer was actually a group of women and some self-hating homosexual men who were carrying out murders in order to take down the scum, which is, I guess, man and misogyny and patriarchal society. I understand that. I kind of understand what they're doing here, especially with the overall scope of this particular series. Of course, at this point, considering the fact that all of these seasons are really relatively very minusculely almost connected, I guess we have to kind of accept now that, at least in the universe of the American Horror Story franchise, the Zodiac Killer was not necessarily one man, but a group of women who were going around and killing couples in order to actually show that they were not necessarily, in order to take down the patriarchal society of the late 60s, early 70s. I guess I understand that, but it's just a little bit weird. We're just going to have to accept that. So, of course, that episode ended with Kai and that mysterious woman being in the same room, seemingly planning something in order to rise up, or maybe even to cause panic again. Obviously, if you want my predictions or expectations of where this is going to lead, one of the things that Kai has promised throughout this entire campaign of his is that he's going to bring law and order, and potentially, because we see him plotting along with this new mysterious woman and her connection with the Zodiac Killer and everything else that we've seen throughout that entire episode, potentially he's going to go and figure out a way to pin all of this on Winter and Ivy and Beverly, and not necessarily him. So if he takes down the cult leader, quote unquote cult leader of these killer clowns, obviously he's going to look even more like a hero than he did after the assassination attempt and during his political campaign. So I really think that might be his angle here. It would be kind of cool. As I've said before, I would actually really like to see Kai win on this. This was not necessarily an Allie heavy episode. The episode preview for next week really kind of centers on her a little bit more than this one did. Obviously, we didn't really get to see her a lot in this particular episode. I'm really hoping, though, that Kai figures out a way to win, because although, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with him politically, I don't agree with his philosophy, it's still interesting to see this kind of crazy mind warp everyone around him into this almost cult mentality. I mean, for the namesake of this particular series, it really goes to show exactly how dangerous this type of mentality could actually be, and I think it's actually pretty cool that we're seeing it play out the way we are. But at the same time, I know he necessarily can't win. In fact, after this particular episode, I'm really questioning what I've said prior and whether or not I think he should win. I think everything that he's said up to this point has been an absolute complete lie. It's not that I'm necessarily shocked there. It's just a little bit disingenuous, and I really want this season to probably culminate with him finding like someone killing him or something else like that. But honestly, after the way that this season has been, it's so cynical. I really hope that nobody wins. I would actually like for, if Kai dies, he dies at the hands of Allie or Ivy or someone else that we've been following throughout this entire season. And at the very end, nobody wins, because everyone, like always in all of these American Horror Story seasons, is an absolute, positively terrible person. And honestly, I don't want anyone to win, and that's one of the best things about this show. It's also one of the worst things about this show, and I want to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions about this show in the comment section below. What did you think of episode 7 of American Horror Story Cult? Are you excited for the rest of the season? Do you feel like this one was a little bit too much in one direction, to say the least? I mean, honestly, I have to say, when I was watching the episode, my sister literally came into the room and she was sitting there saying, "What are you watching? What are you watching? That's just, it's so annoying. This is so terrible. Like, this is awful television." And I'm just sitting there and I'm not even answering her, because I'm just like, I'm enjoying myself. I like the show for what it is. And honestly, although I feel like this is a misstep, I'm not necessarily disappointed with what I saw from this particular week of the episode, from this particular week, and I'm really excited to see where they take this going forward, considering they left us with a pretty big cliffhanger at the end of the episode. So guys, please make sure to go down to the comment section below, share your thoughts and opinions on this show, this season, any other thing that you want to say about American Horror Story. At the same time, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button. That's going to notify you every single time I upload. But with that being said, guys, I hope everyone has a fantastic day. It's been real.